Welcome to this week's wrap-up. Since my last wrap-up, I've been busy. I made a video on a popular topic, macro photography, but I added my own SnapChick twist and talked about macro on a budget. Here's the link to that video. I also unboxed a wireless Flora light head. That video is available here. I also shot a review video for it. The video for that will be on Linco Store's YouTube channel soon. I also took a few photos that are in the video as examples. I'll let you know when it's available. When you watch that video, it lets Linco know that they've picked a fantastic spokesperson for some of their products. I also went to Las Vegas over the weekend. I posted a video from there, and I'll get a few photos up for you this week. I also did a low contrast black and white photo shoot, which is on SnapChick.com right now. I also made a video for my VIPs telling them details on how I did the shoot. Here's a preview of that video. To start, I knew I wanted to create some low contrast black and white images with a rock and roll sort of a feel to them. Okay, basically, I found a cool necklace on clearance and I found a way to justify the purchase. But hey, whatever gives you inspiration, right? Okay, let's talk technical specs. Then I'll talk to you about how I styled myself to obtain the look I wanted. And then I'll talk about post-processing. Oh, and if you follow me on Facebook, you know that my website was completely down for a while. I'm currently transitioning to a new web host, so hopefully I won't have those kinds of drawn-out problems anymore. Now, let's talk about the photos from last week's homework. Courtney Ortiz's favorite thing is her makeup. She remembers playing in her mom's makeup when she was little, which brings back memories for me too. She took the photo using her Nikon D3100 and the 18-55 kit lens. This photo is playful and sexy at the same time, which I love. It's quite reminiscent of pop art. Very cool. And I just sort of have a thing for lens flare. Gary One Ship Brown posted this photo of his favorite thing, his son. Gary used his Nikon D7000 with his 55mm. Aperture was f5.6 and shutter speed was 1/80th. This is a great photo. It looks like a movie still or something. It really tells a story, you know, how the boy is peeking around the corner with an expectant or, I don't know, maybe frightened look on his face at something just to the camera's right. Great shot, Gary. John Woodman posted this photo of Daniel, his toddler. John says that Daniel is his favorite thing. Sometimes. John used his Nikon D40 with his 50mm f1.8 lens. Shutter speed was 1/400th and aperture was f5.6. He used 3 speed lights, all with different modifiers. He used one to the left in a softbox, one to the right through an umbrella, and one behind him. I'm not sure what, if any, modifier he used on that one, but the one in the back was to blow out the wall behind Daniel, so it was a completely white background. Very nice, John. And thanks for all the details. I love the look on Daniel's face. There's almost something a little mischievous about it. Joshua Marquez shared a photo of his favorite thing, a watch given to him by his wife on their wedding day. It's a cool looking watch too. He used a Canon 7D and a 15-85mm lens. Joshua lamented that he didn't polish up the watch, but I think that it looks awesome. If it were perfectly polished, it might look just too much like a product ad. This way, it's just a beautiful photo. Kiana Smith posted this photo of her Shetland sheepdog, Zoe. She shot it with her Nikon S3000. I like this photo for a number of reasons. First, because I'm a sucker for animals. But aside from that, it's just a nice portrait. I like the background and I like the angle, which is somewhere between like a 3/4 profile and a full profile. And it's fun to see the reflection in her eye. It looks like there's a person holding a treat or something, so Zoe will sit still. Mark Lefebvre, I think, posted this photo of his granddaughter. She played in the makeup and did her lips. She even helped her great aunt do her lips too. Mark used his Canon EOS Rebel. He thinks that the background could be cleaned up, but loves the photo anyway. He thinks that this little one has the same expression as her mother. And I completely agree that this photo is great of Mark's granddaughter. Sure, you can see stuff in the background, but this photo is still a great shot of a super cute little girl. Wolvie Curreny shared this HDR photo. It's a photo of a pomegranate tree at his sister's house. Wolvie says that he not only loves the fruit, but it's a symbol of his country, Azerbaijan. It is definitely a striking image. I really like the photos that were posted this week. It's probably no accident that the photos of your favorite things brought out the best in your photography. One of the things I particularly enjoyed were the technical imperfections, I'll call them. I know that there were things like the lens flare in Courtney's image or the smudged watch glass in Joshua's photo that some might say need correcting. I completely disagree. There is a place for perfect photography, but there is certainly room or even a need for more interesting images. In fact, I tend to gravitate towards photography with a little, let's call it technical imperfection. Dan asked a good question this week. I've already answered his question in email, but the topic is pertinent to most of us, so I wanted everyone to hear my answer. He has been asked to shoot the wedding of a friend's daughter and has agreed to do it as a gift to the happy couple. He's not a beginner photographer, but not really a pro either. He's shot a few weddings in the past with film SLRs, but isn't really equipped DSLR-wise for a wedding. He has a Nikon D3100 with the 18-55 kit lens and the 55-200 f3.5 to 5.6 lens. Not the most versatile collection for wedding photography. His question is, does he do the best with what he has, or maybe rent a nicer lens? I've gotten questions along these lines from a lot of people, and frankly, I've been in the situation myself, so I have some sympathy for the guy. So, I'll talk about a few of my concerns in a minute, but first let's talk about your concern with lenses. The concern is that you don't have the most versatile lenses. And by versatile, I mean fast and will open up to a decently wide aperture and will get you the reach you want from wherever you're shooting. Renting a nicer lens would help out with that. However, do you want to spend the money on the rental when you aren't getting paid for the work? I don't know. I guess it might depend on how close a friend the father of the bride is. I guess it might also depend on where the ceremony is. If the ceremony is in a dark church, you will definitely have trouble getting enough ambient light to take usable shots with the lenses you currently own. Renting the 70-200 f2.8 would probably be your best bet should you decide to go the rental route. Now bringing it around to my concerns. First, does the bride understand the situation? If she does, then being able to work with her on things like where the photos are taken can make it possible for you to use the stuff you already have and maybe not have to rent another lens. My second concern is showing up with only one camera body. Cameras do fail, and they do seem to fail at the most inopportune times. It's always a good idea to have a backup, especially when you're shooting an important occasion. There are a couple things you can do to address this situation. First, you could use one of your old film cameras or purchase one for next to nothing online. Some of them will even work with G lenses, so you could at least have it as a backup. Another option, though, would be to reach out online or through a college professor to find an assistant willing to cover the wedding with you for the experience. That way, you'd automatically have an extra set of gear, even if it wasn't technically yours. Like I said before, though, a lot of us have been pressured into doing photos for someone when we weren't really sure it was a good idea. When I have been, I just try to make sure everyone knows what they're getting into before I actually agree to do anything. That way, they know the risks, and you can relax a bit. Now for this week's homework. I want to see some macro images. Give me something unusual, though. I know a popular subject of macro photography is flowers, but I'd really like to see something different this week. Use your creativity and challenge yourself to take unconventional macro images. Post those images on my Facebook page, and make sure to include macro or homework in the description. So for the coming days, I'll be working on videos and photos. Of course. I received a question about my process from the time the actual photo shoot is over to the time I have a finished product. Now, there are an infinite number of ways to handle your workflow, but I'll make a response video with my process. Also, like I said before, my site is in transition, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed for little to no downtime. I'll keep you updated via Facebook. If my site is down, Facebook is going to be the place where I focus my attentions. I'll post updates and photos and stuff there to keep us all entertained during the downtime. Talk to you later.